Welcome to the Pewtercast. We are here on a very special Thursday night, a special edition show. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by my co-host, Ren Daxt, and joining us as well, another podcast co-host you're probably fairly familiar with, and at least you know the voice, Justin Palowski, the commish from Bucs Uncensored. Gentlemen, how you guys doing tonight?
I'm super pumped to be on with you guys. You know, I'm such a fan of all these podcasts that have popped up, and there's been so much negativity, there's no hiding it. Like, I just don't like the agenda that is put out there by the mainstream local media. So with your podcast and What the Buck and Ira Kaufman and just people that I think just have that genuine fire and passion inside is providing not only entertainment, but I think proper information, given both sides, positive and negative. So big fan of you guys and love all the podcasts out there that are popping up.
Yeah, I'm so stoked that you're here with us tonight. You know, I agree with you about all the podcasts being there. There's so many outlets now that Buck fans can get their information from, and there's a ton to choose from, and a lot of them do a really, really good job. But, you know, what we're probably most excited about is the next day Brent and I are going to make it to practice, which is going to be Saturday. Yes. And because it's going to be another training camp takeover day for the Stick Carriers and you. Brent and I went last year, and it was by far the most fun we had at all the training camps. I went to like 13 last year. So it was great. It was fun, and I can't wait to get into it and start talking about it.
I said on my last podcast earlier this week, I was like, I mean, for all those years, I was in the media for a number of years. I worked on local sports radio and whatnot. And I mean, I would go to the practices because I'm just a football fan and like I'm taking the notes and doing all that stuff. But quite frankly, I would always get excited, go out to the practice, and then realize this is really boring and it's really hot. And so right. you don't realize that until you get 30 minutes in, and then it's like, what was I thinking? But you know, last year I've never experienced anything like that. And quite frankly, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, I was like, man, if we get 300 people, like that would be pretty awesome. Like we'll all be together. There were thousands of people there. It was a tremendous, tremendous energy. And we turned a practice into a playoff atmosphere, and I hope we can do that again. I think it helps the players halfway through training camp, and I just think it gives the fans some enthusiasm and optimism to look forward to this season because, quite frankly, the local and national media have been beating us down, guys.
Yeah, it's and there was something that came out earlier this week. Justin, I know you jumped all over it. Something from the media that came out that I have been calling an attack on our fan base, and that's, you know, somebody took some quotes from some fans and kind of turned it against us a little bit. I don't know if that's all the right verbiage, but that's what it feels like to me. But yeah, it's all that's crazy. And, you know, we are here. I love the message that you put out. And I messaged you last year after the takeover day and said, you know, listen, if what we experienced at last year's takeover day is what it is to be a Stick Carrier, to be a Buck fan, a Buckaholic, or whatever label you want to put to it, count me in, because that's what we want to be. That's the kind of culture that we want to build. That's part of why we do what we do here at the Pewtercast. That's why all of our friends, you know, our fellow fan podcasters out there and fan websites and all that, that's why we do this, is because we want to increase the fan culture. We want to bring everybody together. We want to, you know, we want our team to know that they have fans who have their back, and we want to pack out Raymond James, want to pack out these things. Justin, give us, if I was like a good host, I would have like clips pulled from last year's takeover day. Yeah. I don't. So give us some highlights from last year that just kind of get us pumped up for the takeover day that's getting ready to happen here. And really, are we 48 hours away? Something like that, right?
Maybe even 36 now. But before I forget the label thing, like whatever you call yourself, it's sad that, you know, it took a label like Stick Carriers to kind of bring people together. But honestly, it's just about what Dirk Cutter said at the end of the 2016 season. And I've always said this about this town. Mm-hmm. We live in the South, but we're almost like a northern city. It's like a northern blue-collar city. And I think Mike Allstott, when he was running the ball, like people love that hard-nosed, physical hitting defense. So when Dirk Cutter gets up there and he says, speak softly and carry a big MF and stick, I think it hit home immediately for me, and I think it hit home for a lot of Bucs fans. And I was like, man, I got a podcast, and it's uncensored. I can just say whatever the hell I want, and I just went right after it. And quite frankly, it was a joke at the time. I just said, you know what? If you listen to this podcast, you're a stick carrier. I mean, it was a play on words. I was just having fun with it. People just gravitated towards it. And you know what? I realized there's a lot of people out there just like me, just like you, just like, we just have that burning passion. We don't care who's on the team. We don't care who's coaching the team. We don't care who the general manager is. We don't care about any of that. Give us a winner. And it's been so long since we've had that. Now, last year, I'm sorry, I just wanted to get that label thing out of the way because I think so many people get caught up in labels and fan groups. Listen, the one label, the one thing we should all remember is the name of the team, and that's the Bucs. We're all Bucs fans. I don't care what you call yourself. In the end, we all want the Bucs to win. Now, last year was crazy. We had about 20 people fly in from all over the country. I made the tremendous mistake, guys. I went out the night before with all these guys. We went down to downtown St. Pete. They have First Friday down there. And we were out very, very late. So I was not feeling good the next morning until I showed up at the facility at about 6:30. And hundreds of people, maybe even 1,000 people were already there. And we started the chants at like 6:30. Right as I was pulling up, I opened my window, I started filming, and people were chanting, "Let's go Bucs." That's what this was all about. It was about cheering the players as they showed up to the building, continuing to chant as we were lined up. We weren't even inside yet, and it was so loud that Jason Light texted me and said that he was so fired up for practice that day, and that the players after practice were talking about how they could hear it in the locker room, and it gave them energy. Listen, anyone that's played football knows training camp sucks. And then you get halfway through training camp, you have no idea what day it is. You're just trying to grind it out and get through it. This gives the players something to look forward to for one practice in the middle of training camp to get jacked up and know that the fans are ready to explode with them. But the team's got to meet us halfway, guys. I mean, people aren't going to blindly just show up and spend hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. I don't care what people do with their own money. It's up to them, but quite frankly, this is the same in any city. Fans aren't just going to blindly show up for a team. You got to meet us halfway. And I think what we've shown, not the stick carriers, but as a fan base, we are so ready to explode for this team. Just give us something to explode for. Look, we damn near gave them a parade after 9-7, right? I mean, we were going to block off Dale Mabry and have a parade for him. It's just a little bit. Yeah. I really hope this is the year they turn it around. And that's what this time of year is all about, optimism. This is the year they're going to do it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I ran into Brian Ford at practice yesterday. And, he kind of pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, are you guys coming on Saturday? Saturday is going to be amazing. Like, if there's no other day you come, make sure you come back on Saturday because that's awesome. Like, you're going to like," he was like so bummed up. I was like, "Brian, we'll be here. I promise we're going to be here."
I called him. What's funny is I texted him today and I was like, "Brian, listen, we're going to have a lot of people there. I know that there's capacity in the indoor facility." I go, "I will buy disposable wristbands, those cheap wristbands, they just tape or whatnot. And let's just let everyone into the outdoor portion of practice and then give the wristbands to people who have tickets to let them in indoors." And he called me back right away. So I texted him. He called me back. He's like, "First off, I can't thank you enough for just saying that you'd be willing to do that. But we are going to do our best to pack as many people in as possible." Obviously, listen, they're not going to be able to fit 6,000 or 7,000 people in the indoor facility just because it's risk. It's a risk. There's fire marshal, there's fire codes and whatnot. But he promised me that they are going to fill it and pack it as much as possible. Guy's a great guy, man. He really wants not only the team to succeed, but he just wants it all to come together. And he's very supportive of what we've done. And I think what I like is that he came up to you, Brent. I mean, he reaches out to me. I know he reaches out to old school. Like for him, the COO of the Bucs to reach out to guys that just do the little old podcast, I think is awesome. And I think we have a a relationship with the fans that some of the mainstream media doesn't have, because we share our passion. All those mainstream media folks say they want to do is, I'm just going to report the news. I'm going to give both sides. But we've seen that.
I don't know if you know, Ren and I actually had media credentials for the last couple of days. And, I left those, and I don't mind saying this, I really don't. I left those 2 days going, man, the types of questions that we got to ask while we were in the conferences and talking to the players, and the way we were looking at things and the way we were covering the team is different from the way those other guys do, and it's like, I think it's better. Like, I mean, we do what we do. Like, we create a podcast that we would want to listen to. You created a podcast you would want to listen to. And there's fans. Like, this is just kind of what we do. And
the best part is that we are our own boss. We don't have anyone.
Exactly.
I mean, I've told this story a number of times, but I'll tell you guys again. Like, I mean, when I worked at 620 and when I worked at 98.7 The Fan here in Tampa, like, I remember getting done with shows, going into our promotion or our program director's office at both stations. It wasn't one or the other. It was both stations. Now, granted, 620 was the home of the Bucs at that point, so it was kind of awkward. But they were telling us, and we were trying, or they would come up with ideas. And I've been born and raised in Tampa, lifelong Bucs fan, talking about ways to be negative about the team, to divide the fan base, because if you divide people, then they're going to call up and argue with each other. And it's just like, I don't know, I just got sick to my stomach at times. And once I got out and I was like, I'm changing careers, I just can't. It's not fun anymore. It wasn't fun for a long time. And I became my own boss and was able to just do things the way I wanted to. I enjoyed it a lot more. And I feel like I have more people listening to me now than I ever did on the radio. 98.7 The Fan didn't have many listeners anyway, so it doesn't matter. But it's just, you know how it is. It's fun. You get to do your own thing and have fun with it because it's a hobby. It's not a career.
Actually, I have a question about 98. Yeah. Hi, Brent. Hi.
Oh, hey. Oh, I didn't even. Ren, you didn't talk? I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I got a quick story or question actually from 98.7 The Fan. I was one of those few listeners, and you're right, there weren't that many. And you were on with Gary. You were partnered up with Gary Shelton, if I remember correctly, right?
Yep.
Okay. How is he? Because I'm not trying to throw shade at the man. He's the only person ever blocked me on Twitter. Is he as grumpy as he seems?
He is grumpy. Yes. I got along with him. I like Gary a lot. Anytime I see him, I'll say hi to him. I thought it was an odd pairing him and I together. I have all this energy, and I'm just like, I just want to talk about the Bucs. I'm so excited, and he's just like, well, I think the Bucs are going to stink this year. I was like, okay, oh, that's great. But no, he's a good guy. He has a short fuse. I've seen him lose it on a few people before. He never lost it on me, which is great. And, I enjoyed my time with him. And then I got to transfer over to Jim Lighthall, who's been one of my best friends for years. And I think we got to do the type of fun show that I wanted to do, which was good that I got to do that before I got out of that industry.
All right, let's go back to thank you for that. Let's go back to
I appreciate the question. I like kind of sharing personal things as well. So
we know, of course, that the Buccaneers, you had to go grab tickets this year. Okay, they all sold out. I'm pretty sure August 4th, this Saturday, sold out first. Yeah. What's the official word? Like, I know between Brent and I, we have an extra ticket. We're happy to help out. But what's the official word? You've talked to Brian Ford. If you don't have one of these, ticket vouchers, so to speak, are they still going to let you in? Or are we going to have to rally the troops and bring people together and start a line outside? So, like, what exactly is the word right now about getting people in that don't have a ticket right now?
Oh, put me on this. I haven't gotten an official word. Okay. The tickets sold out quickly. Yeah. I have extras. You have extras. I think what I said initially when we rolled out the date and said this is going to be the date is go and get as many tickets as you can. If you don't use them, bring them and share them with the other stick carriers that come out. I think people are going to do that. The only word I've gotten from Brian Ford himself was that they're going to try and accommodate and fit as many people as humanly possible. And now, what does that mean? You guys have been at practice. I haven't been at practice yet. But the word I got is that they can fit as many people as we need on the field outside. That's not the problem. The problem is once we go inside, which is the last half hour or so of practice, they do have a capacity of about 3,500. He told me that we will have people sitting as close together as humanly possible. We want to fit in as many people as we can. I told him what would be cool, and maybe it's a little late to be planning all this, and I hope that the Buccaneers want to really plan this out for next year. But what I think would be cool is fill the indoor facility, as many people as possible. If we have 1,000 people left over, build like a human tunnel from the indoor facility to the locker room that the players have to go through after practice. How cool would that be? You know, I think some fans would rather just be part of that tunnel than be in the indoor facility. You have a great opportunity to get autographs or pictures or whatnot. But it's cool. I hope, you know, my vision was, do we have too many people? Do we have 1,000 too many people? Could 1,000 people just stay outside the gate and just chant the entire practice? What a scene that would be. And what it's showing is like we want to explode with you, Bucs. We want to be there for you. We want you to meet us halfway. We're ready for it. We've been primed and preparing for this for a long time. It also shows all these other cities and all these national reporters that want to badmouth the Bucs, that don't think the Bucs are going to do anything this year, that even though they're saying that and beating us down or trying to beat us down, that doesn't mean that we're not going to have enthusiasm and optimism for our team going into this year. So I'm just excited. I think it's going to be a positive day. Every event that we've had so far, we haven't had any incidents, knock on wood, but it's all positive. And last year we had however many thousand people show up, and I didn't hear one person cuss. Not one person even cuss. And I really pitched that because this is a family-friendly event. I'm bringing both of my daughters out to this event. Like, so I expect people to be on their best behavior and just have a good time.
You know, and Ren, I know you've got another thing for Justin, but real quick to bounce off of that, I remember from last year, Justin, one of the things that really impressed me on so many levels was you were out there. Everybody was still waiting in line. They hadn't opened the gates yet, but everybody was out there. And you got out there. You had your bullhorn. You're kind of going up and down the line, and you're you were just telling people what was going to happen. And you said, "We're going to go in there. We're going to be the wildest, the craziest. We're going to do this. We're not going to bash on each other, and we're not going to cuss." But I mean, like, you led it really well. You know what I mean? Like you told people what was expected, and you know what happened was everybody just kind of went, okay, let's go do that. And people still went in and they went wild and went crazy.
Did he freeze?
I froze, but I'm back.
I'm back.
I got you back.
Brent's back.
I'm back. We're here. Red, you said, I think you had one more thing for Justin.
Yeah, it's not really a question. It's one, this is why people like you so much, because that tunnel idea is a great idea. You know, it's just off the cuff. I don't, how long you've been thinking about it. I don't know. I haven't listened to the latest Bucs Uncensored. I don't know if you brought it up there. But
it just hit me the other day. I mean, I just my wheels are always going, and
I think that would make every security person's butt pucker really, really tight thinking of that. But it's awesome.
And secondly, real quick.
By the way, and I'm going to let you go, Ren, but I appreciate you before saying about me I wasn't laying the rules down, but I just wanted people to understand, like, like, let's respect each other. Let's respect that there's families out here. And, I didn't expect any of this to happen. There was no master plan. I didn't think like, this is going to be so incredible. What a business plan I'm putting in. No, it's just organically happened. But now that it's happened, I almost feel a responsibility and obligation just to make sure that we don't have people fighting. We don't have people, as loose cannons and cussing at each other. That's going to happen at a football game. I get it. But like at an event like this, training camp, if it happens, that's why I tell no kids at the draft party, because it happens there, language, there's a lot of drink. But, for the most part, I just want to make sure that, I'm doing my best to manage people in the right direction and keep the focus being positive, unless it's something that the evil Bucs media says. I'm just kidding.
my final thing.
No, you're not. You're not kidding at all, Justin.
I'm kidding. My toes are crossed. I've been to 3 indoor training camp practices so far, and when like something simple as Brian Anger hitting the top of the roof and people, start to cheer a little bit, it gets loud in here. You have been saying that you guys are going to blow the roof off this place. From what you did last year and how it echoes this year, I don't think you're even ready for how loud it's going to get in there. And if once again, if you're coming tomorrow, or excuse me, coming Saturday, it's going to be a great time, and get ready and get into your seats in the indoor facility. As soon as they start to say go there, I'm sorry, I'm not going to let that out.
I'm going to go in there early. I was talking to Steve Isbitz earlier today at Joe Bucs Fan, and I was just like, hey, give me the lowdown. What do I need to expect when I come out there? Just because, I just haven't been able to come out with dad responsibilities on the weekend, traveling last weekend, work and whatnot. So I haven't been able to be out there. But, I think when he was telling me about the indoor facility, they walk around, they have signs, hey, time to move inside for the fans. I was like, well, how far in advance do they do that? He's like, well, they do it about 20 minutes in advance. I go, okay, so if I just start heading in there 30 minutes, he goes, oh, yeah, you'll be in there before everyone. Perfect. I'm willing to give up like a little one-on-one DB wide receiver action to make sure that we've got great seats for the indoor part. I heard how loud it got last year, and that was outdoors with a little cover over like 5 rows of bleachers. I can't imagine how loud it's going to get in that indoor facility on Saturday.
This is an event, Bucs fans, for those of you who are listening, you do not want to miss this. Do whatever you can. If you don't have plans, change your plans and get your butt out there to training camp on Saturday, because this is going to be off the chain and it's going to be off the hook. And, as you heard, the Buccaneers are going to do everything they can. I think I saw Joe Bucs Fan tweeted out earlier, they've got hundreds of extra tickets, I think was the exact tweet. And if they don't quote me. Don't. I'm just saying, I think go back in their Twitter line. Let them tell you. Yes.
It's almost, well, you know what? We should probably take your quote like the Times would, and then kind of just phrase it the way we need it to be.
Right. The Bucs are going to stonewall everybody and lock them out from the facility altogether.
Like a dog with a bone, that kid.
All right. So I think that's, people know. What time do you think people need to start showing up? What time do you want to see them be there, Justin?
What time do you want to get there? Listen,
what time do the Bucs want us there? Because listen, we're there for us. We're there to be fans, but ultimately we're there for our team. What time do the Bucs want us there?
I'm always thinking bigger, better. How can we make a positive scene? Not just a scene. Like anyone can make a scene, but how can we make a positive impact? Could you imagine having 1,000 people there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then the bus pulls up with all the players, and they're like, "Holy I cannot believe this." That's what I want the players to feel, that impact. Yeah. I want employees of the Buccaneers to not even be able to get into the facility because of all the fans that are showing up. And they're just like, what is going on? This is a practice. It's not a game. It's not a preseason game. It's not regular season. It's not postseason. We're going to make it that type of atmosphere. So, I'm going to get there between 6 and 6:30. I know a ton of people got there early last year. If you can get there early, wake up, set the alarm. I promise you, it'll be an event you won't forget. There's still people telling stories about last year's event and how much fun they had. And I think this year's going to be even bigger and better.
You say that, and it reminds me of from the book The Yucks, talking about the first couple of years in Buccaneer history. The scene that they describe in that book of what happened after the Bucs finally won that first game, 27 games in. They went 0-26, and finally, number 27, they won. And said when they were coming home, people were on the roof of the building, climbing up in trees. It was pandemonium out there. That's kind of what you're describing, and that would be awesome. I am all for making something like that happen. Justin, I know we're a little bit up on a time limit, so I do want to kind of turn the corner. There is another event that you guys have going on for fans. Season kickoff, Bourbon Street, the Bourbon Street TakeOver, Stick Carrier TakeOver. Talk to us about that for just a few minutes.
Yeah, so Joe Bucs Fan came to me, and I guess one of their sponsors is fanretreat.com. Okay. And we're like, hey, would you be interested in doing a Stick Carrier road trip this year? And I've gone to road games every once in a while. I don't make it like a yearly event for me. So I was like, man, that'd be cool. So yeah, I go, yeah, I'm in. And, you know, just let me know what the date is and I'll promote it. I would love to. I think it'd be a lot of fun because really, I think the whole reason I'm doing any of this is selfish reasons. I just want to have fun. And
right.
So we were waiting for the schedule to come out. I was like, please let New Orleans be early in the season because that was my target. I wanted to go to Bourbon Street. I thought if we're going to do this every year, what better way to start than Bourbon Street? When that schedule came out and it was the first game of the season, I got goosebumps right now just thinking about it. It's going to be a blast. So fanretreat.com is handling everything. We're going to relaunch it after the training camp takeover. So don't go to fanretreat.com yet. I think a good day to do it is probably on Saturday or moving forward, because I think there's just going to be a lot of buzz for the start of the season after Saturday. The trip is a package trip. You get to create your own package. I've never used fanretreat.com, so I thought it was pretty neat. You pick your flight, you pick your hotel, you pick your ticket to the game, and what they've done is they've got negotiated package bundle prices, so they're way lower. So my flight, hotel, so I'm staying at the Marriott on Canal Street. It was a nice hotel right next to Bourbon Street. I got section 101, lower level in the end zone for the game. It also includes transportation to and from the airport. We're going to do a party that Saturday night from like 5 to 7. Ira Kaufman's going to be there. He's going to do a Q&A. I'll MC the event. It's just going to be a lot of fun. And then we're all going to hit Bourbon Street afterwards. But your drinks are going to be on your own dime. But for me and my girlfriend, airfare, hotel, ticket to the game, and transportation to and from the game was about $700, so it was about $350 a piece, which I thought. I was like, I travel a lot for my job now. I'm like, man, if I could find that my budget, I would stretch my budget so far. So I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to bond together. It's going to be another memorable experience and event that we all get to share together. And quite frankly, I mean, you can go to any of these other games, but I don't know if you're going to find a package price like $350-ish a person to do something like this. So I just think it's great. And, you know, I've never used Fan Retreat before, but I'll probably use them again if they're going to get me that kind of pricing.
That's pretty phenomenal. The word affordable, I think immediately comes to mind.
Yeah. I hope you guys are going to come, man. I would love to have you. And, you know, if you
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Now that you say that, I might try it. We'll see what happens.
Well, now here's the thing. I don't know if Ren should come, actually. Ren, I think you should actually take that money and invest it in maybe some pictures in the back.
Don't.
Maybe replace the floral pillow in the back. Yes. You know, I know that's just my personal opinion. But, you know, if you want to spend it and come to New Orleans with us, fine.
Secrets are never secret.
All right. Well, Justin, man, these are just some really cool experiences I think that fans are going to have a ton of fun with as they get into, and, you know, certainly as we go through the season. I mean, who knows what beholds the season in front of us, but I got to tell you, there's a lot about this team just from the last couple of days being at training camp. There's a lot to get excited for this year. And,
you know, and I really, I know we didn't talk much about the team, but, you know, I think we were all frustrated at the end of last season, and
sure,
you know, there was so much buzz about Gruden, and don't get me wrong, the Bucs were talking to Gruden. Don't believe anything else. I said at the time, I was like, man, the only person I would take over Cutter was Gruden. When he got that 10-year deal, I was like, okay, I want Dirk Cutter to be as successful and get that extension as much as anyone. His mentality, I think you guys will agree. The mentality is what I think we all want, and what the Bucs have not had, maybe since Gruden. I mean, like Greg Schiano's he's just going to be a bully. Raheem Morris, Lovey, none of them had that aggressive, I'm going to do what it takes to win mentality. So I want Dirk Cutter to be successful so bad. And I think Jason Light gave him some tools to work with. They lost last year because they got physically beat along the line of scrimmage. And that Jason Light, he seems to overcompensate sometimes in free agency and in the draft when he sees a deficiency. I'm glad he overcompensated this year. Build that defensive line, build that offensive line. Let's bring Nasty back. And I think the Bucs are going to do that. I think they're going to lean on that line of scrimmage. And listen, if you're going to win with or without Jameis Winston, it doesn't matter if he's the quarterback or not if you're getting your ass handed to you along the line of scrimmage. So if they start winning the line of scrimmage, I think they can win with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they'll be able to win with Jameis Winston as well.
I wholeheartedly agree. And I'll tell you a little story. I don't know if you heard, we talked about it yesterday. Coach Buckner was watching him yesterday, and he was not only getting in the ass of some of his guys who weren't going hard enough. They were going in 2-on-1 drills, his defensive line against the offensive line. He turned around and then started yelling at some of the offensive lines for taking it easy on his own guys.
Ooh, I love
Like, he was like, you get into don't ease up and leave that to them. Like, it was, I can't give you an exact quote of what he said, but that's kind of what I heard through the air over the music.
Listen,
so,
I know
awesome.
I know you guys don't have an uncensored podcast, but you did say he was in their ass, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, we go PG-13.
Graphic.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, Justin. Okay. Well, I'll tell you the story later. But guys, listen, that's going to wrap this up. Justin, thank you so much for coming on to talk about it. Listen, we're all fans. We're all about the fan experience and what we're going to do. Takeover Dough is going to be off the hook. The Bourbon Street Takeover sounds incredibly fun and affordable. So you guys make sure you check that out sometime on Saturday or later. And Justin, in case anybody out there is listening and for some reason they're not familiar with you, tell people where they can get a hold of you or where they can find your show out there.
At Commish Online on Twitter and Instagram. On Facebook, I'm active on the Stick Carriers Facebook page. I try to keep my personal one for family and close friends, just because I want to share pictures of my daughter and whatnot. And then let's see. Oh, podcast, iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, Podbean, Bucs Uncensored. And I want to be back on with you guys. I want to talk some more football. So have me on anytime during the season, whenever. I'm good.
Yeah, when we get back to actual football, we'll do what we can to make that happen. Justin, thanks again so much. You guys know where you can get a hold of us here at the Pewtercast across all the things. So we'll see you guys Saturday for the Stick Carrier Takeover Day. Take it easy, guys.